TV. I'm your host, B. I would like to welcome you to the show. Thanks to Sync is brought to you courtesy of First Ave Entertainment. You guys, we have an amazing show lined up for you today. We have Team Absoloot. He is the co-owner and founder of Positivity Pays. You guys, stick and stay with us. We will be right back.
Hey, this is Julian Marley, and this is Sync to Sync. Keep it locked right here. See? Irie.
Bigging up Sing So Sing.
This is the hottest show in the world right now.
Même les où on tord, c'est moi-même qui m'en dois pardon.
Bye bye, au revoir. Va, va, va.
Elephant Man represent
5 sur 5 TV.
They gave me nothing.
Okay, so, itching already. One of the signs.
I'm telling you, I was amazed when some of the things you were saying.
I'm a shorty that's deep in love. Makes me believe.
Woo, child, we talking about 2001, 2002.
I'ma show them otherwise. Man, I do me.
Has anyone seen that booty?
I'm pleasing him in music. I'm happy to be here.
I know you are.
Together we rule the world.
When I make music, I don't make it for me.
I always sing 1 or 2 songs as a drummer.
Welcome to Thanks to Sync TV. I'm your host, B. You can find more information about our show at www.thankstosynctv.com. All our Twitter and Instagram handles is Thanks to Sync TV. Absolute, Sakafet.
How you doing?
I am good. Thank you for coming back to the show.
Of course, this is home now,
right? It is. Your fam. And you're always bringing more positivity to the show.
Right. Well, I'm trying my best to make sure we're putting more positivity out in our community, out in the atmosphere, and just doing everything positive.
Love it, because it's so easy to get in that sunken place.
It is.
It's a chore now. It seems like even media, it's like a chore now to see something positive on TV. And then we're so numb to it that when we see something positive, like, no shock value. This movie sucked.
Right. Yeah, but that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
It's because we see it everywhere. And one of the things that we notice is our youth takes hold of that negative energy, right? And it affects them throughout their life. So we're like, the only way we can really create the change that we want to see is by putting it out there in the atmosphere. So we do everything we possibly can to put that positive energy out there.
Yes, and I know you had some books, currently still do, that you've authored and doing pretty well in the community, but you have much more for us now.
Yeah. So not only the music that we've come out with, we have the books. We're now doing trading cards, and we just partnered with Community Education Alliance, and we're putting out the magazine, Grace Magazine. So that's something else that we're adding to the resume. And we're doing some just amazing things. We're working with the African American Research Library, Westside Gazette newspaper, so it's really becoming something much larger than we imagined.
What started? I remember you came. Let's get our audience up to speed. What made you start to be in this realm in the first place? Because I know you were in music, and you're still doing both. You're still balancing both. But what guided you, or propelled you to say, you know what? Let me get into this realm real quick.
Well, when I first started doing music, I was doing a little bit of everything, and I was seeing some success, but something hit me, and I was like, you know what? I got to change the way I'm making music. I got to change the content and the lyrics because I want my community to be receiving something positive. Like you said, you get so much negative, you get like used to it, right?
Yeah.
It has no effect on you, and you kind of expect that negative energy.
True.
And I was like, the only way I'm going to change this is if I change who I am, right? And I start putting out something positive. So many people hit me and they were like, that's not going to work. People don't want to hear that, especially with hip hop. But it worked. And on that first album I did with my father, we ended up going to the Grammys on that first album we did together that was positive.
Congrats.
So that was a huge like affirmation for me, like, this is what people want.
Right.
This is what people want to hear, and a lot of people weren't doing it. And we also ended up getting an award from Billboard for songwriting for one of the songs on that album as well. And so we had so much success. I was like, the youth don't see this.
Right.
You know, I need to do more. And so we started creating comic books based on the lyrics of the songs.
Right.
So we took it a step further. We created an anti-bullying book, and we're just trying to create as much content to engage the youth. That's really what it's about, is creating something that engages our youth.
Because, I mean, the information's always there, but it's the engagement piece to be relatable to our youth so that they can actually receive and encode the message. Because the message has been there since, we were in school.
Right.
But it's that piece, that bridging that gap piece. Thanks to Sank. We'll be right back, bridging the gap. Positivity pays.
Healthcare workers and nurses are in high demand. Take your first step toward a medical career today at Ideal Professional Institute in Miami Gardens. With multiple programs available, you can become a patient care technician in just 9 months, a home health aide in under 1 month, an LPN in just a year. Ideal Professional Institute is licensed by the state of Florida, so register now. Call 305-653-7886.
Thanks to Think family. We are back here with, entertainer, entrepreneur, Absoloot.
How's it going?
A little tired, but
you're always working. Here. You're always doing your thing.
You have no choice. I like your shirt.
Oh, thank you. This is actually one of the shirts we did. So we're not only doing trading cards and comic books, we actually take some of the people we do the trading cards on, and we make T-shirts out of them.
Nice.
This one right here, this is Kelvin Watson. He was the director of the library here, the Broward County Library System. So he was the director of libraries.
Nice.
Now he's in Las Vegas, but he made such an impact on us here in Broward County that we created a trading card on him, and then we started creating these shirts with one of his sayings on it because we wanted our youth to see that positive energy that he was giving out. We wanted them to be able to ask him questions, get their trading cards signed, and just create that positive energy behind what he's doing. And so we look for people in the community that we can highlight, tell their story, give them a place on our website so it's always marked there in history.
I love it. I love that we look for people in our community.
Right.
Because oftentimes Black History Month was, I don't know.
Talk to me now.
It's just, okay, so I try my best to do Black History Month 365. I'm very much so 365 Black History, right? It's so crazy. I see I don't know, in comparison to when we were in school, and I see the students now that are in school, when I ask them about Black history, it's like the same 5 people.
It is, yes.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Well, maybe because I had a strict teacher. I had African American history too at the Miami Northwestern Senior High School, but she was very strict, and she wanted us to tap into not only Black history, people who you see in the encyclopedias. I'm aging myself in encyclopedias, but also within our community, and that really opened my eyes to say, wait a minute, we are celebrating people who, they have this big platform, and yes, they should be praised. However, when we not look into people within our own community, I think there's somewhat of a disconnect. It's almost
there is, yes.
Yeah, like we can't really relate. There's nothing, we don't have that sense of commonality, I want to say.
Right, okay.
So when I love the fact that you're doing the tapping into the people in the community, because it's like, okay, this person's in my neighborhood. This person is, on the blog. This person, I see this person when I go to the library. I see this person, on TV, and they are in the local news. So that's amazing. I like that piece.
I had the same, I guess, feeling that you have, where there's a huge disconnect, and it's not just our elders and the youth. When we're talking about Black history, we don't realize the effect Haiti's revolution had on the rest of the world, right?
Gosh.
And that's a part of Black history.
Very much so.
And so that changed the rest of the world, and the way, the Ottomans reached out to Haiti to help them in a war, right? And so a lot of people don't know that. They don't know that the United States invaded Haiti twice, right? To prevent Haiti from freeing other countries such as Venezuela and Colombia, right? And Haiti was actually pressing up the money for these other countries. So Haiti was way more advanced than what we're told, right? And they wanted to stop that, but we don't educate on that, and so there's a huge disconnect between just Haitian Americans and African Americans, right? And so we wanted to, how do we bridge that gap, right? And so then there's also the standpoint when we're talking about Black history. You have Marie Van Britton Brown, who created the alarm system, right? And so she created the alarm system. That's worldwide. Everybody has an alarm in their office, in their home, right? But this is a Black woman, and she got the patent for that in 1969, I believe, right?
Wow.
And we don't think about this. This is a $1 billion industry that this Black woman is not even acknowledged for creating, right? And so that's one of the major problems, I think, with Black history, is we don't realize that we've changed the world. The Egyptians have been using toothpaste forever, right? And this is something that was patented in the 1800s, even though this is something that we've always had. Right. And so we don't talk about these things. So when we look at Black history, a lot is excluded when you only talk about the same 5 people. You don't recognize Haiti because you don't want to recognize Haiti, right? You don't recognize Marie Van Britton Brown because she's a woman and what she actually created. And so that creates a problem. And so this is something we're saying, you know what? No more of that. And another problem is where do you even find information about her?
I was going to tap into that too. Because we are not the ones who are writing our history. We are not the ones who are writing the curriculum. The curriculum is not made for us, and it's not by us. So then we have someone else who's pretty much narrating our story. So there's a lot that needs to be put in place, and it's amazing that you're starting. It's amazing that you're putting action behind it. Sync to Sync. We'll be right back.
Big up Sing So Sing.
This is the hottest show in the world right now.
Même les où on tort, c'est moi-même qui mando pardon.
Bye bye, au revoir.
Va, va, va.
Elephant Man represent
5 sur 5 TV.
They gave me nothing.
Okay, so, itching already. One of the signs.
I'm telling you, I was amazed when some of the things you were saying.
I'm a shorty that's deep in love. Makes me believe. Woo, child, we talking about 2001, 2002.
I'ma show them otherwise.
Man, I do me.
Has anyone seen that booty?
I'm pleased to hear my music.
I'm happy to be here. I know you are.
Together we rule the world.
When I make music, I don't make it for me.
I always sing 1 or 2 songs as a drummer.
Thanks to Sank family, we are back. We're here chopping it up with Absoloot.
Yes, ma'am. It is great to be here. I'm so grateful to be with you. You're killing it today.
Thank you.
Awesome. You look
Thank
amazing.
you.
I love the colors, everything.
See?
Yes.
The background, they were talking about my
Right.
dress looking like a carnival. But thank you so much. I appreciate the love. Listen, we're talking about music, our hand in music. We know that music shapes us. We know that music is very impactful and pivotal.
It is.
In what we do and how we feel and how we act is very impactful. I don't think people realize how powerful music is.
No, I don't. I would agree with
Yeah.
you. You know, one of the things when I was like, you know, should I do clean music? Should I kind of go this positive route? And I really started just looking at the music that I had listened to when I was growing up, right? And I'm listening to these artists, some of my favorites to this day, Bob Marley, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder. All of these artists were positive, right? And that's something no one ever talks about, right?
Yeah.
And so when you talk about Michael Jackson selling so many records, Bob Marley to this day is one of the top selling artists. A lot of it is because people can relate to what they're saying and they love that positive message. And that was like, yeah, that's the right route to go, because if it's following in those footsteps, I'll be good.
Nice. And the great thing about positive, clean music is that your audience and your demographics, you can gain so much more than because you don't have to, like, you know, bleep out the words, and your kids can listen to it, grandma can listen to it. It just, so much of your audience is so much more, I don't know, it's vast if you have that clean music. And with lyrics too. Let's talk about lyrics, because big up again to you.
Thank you.
Lyrics. Some people don't realize how important it is to ask for permission. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I like the Cisco, that dong, 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 dong.
Right. Yeah, I saw that recently as well. Yes.
What? Are you serious?
Right.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, but you have all these people around you, and I don't know, maybe there's a disconnect, because with me, when I hear the stories of the trials and tribulations that entertainers and artists, you know, experience, I say to myself, but don't you have a team around you? It's not like you're independent. It's not like you're on the lower tier of music. Why is it that no one knew to ask for permission for you to borrow this line of this song, and now you're not getting paid for it?
But, you know, I think that has a lot to do with the labels, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Right? Because you're signed to this label. The label's the one putting the music out. It's not the artist. And I think a lot of times we forget that, and we look at it like, well, why would this artist put this music out? It's not the artist as much as it is as the label, right? Also, in those contracts, the label's telling them kind of how the content should go for that album. The label's the one that approves the album to go out or approves the single to go out. And so I think the label kind of plays artists in some ways, right? And so when you think about them putting that song out, not knowing that, the label would know. The label hires the attorneys. The label would have all that information and be able to say, you know what, we can't put this out unless we get this cleared first. They didn't do that. Why didn't they do that?
I don't understand, though. How does that benefit them, though? Okay,
Well,
maybe this is too much.
Well,
I'm trying
I mean,
to figure out, how would that benefit them? Wouldn't they lose money, though?
who's the other artist signed to, right? Is the other artist signed to that label? They don't necessarily lose money. The artists are losing, you know, Cisco's losing money in this situation, not the label.
Off the top.
Right. And so, you know, that's the nature of the game, right? Is to be able to understand the game. A lot of people want to play the game without knowing the rules of the game. And so we can be taken advantage of when we don't understand what's actually happening.
Yeah, piggybacking on Michael Jackson and how Michael Jackson went back and purchased the songs for a lot of R&B artists. When I hear that, I'm like amazed that people really did not own their music, and he went back and purchased the music and then gave it back to them. It's like he didn't even keep it for himself. He gave it back to them so that they now can start generating income for themselves. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing, because he actually owned half of Sony's catalog.
Right.
You know, and so the thing when we're talking about this music, a lot of these artists don't have the means financially to purchase the rights to their music because they've been on the label. The label's done all of this, and so the label's going to charge them a certain amount to get the music back. And so that creates a really tough situation for an artist.
It's a nasty world out there.
It is.
All that flash. Listen, wake up. It is, at the end of the day, it's business.
It is. It's business at the end of the day.
Take your feelings aside, put your emotions aside. It's straight business. And if you don't know the game, honey, you gonna get eaten out there, huh?
Yeah, there's a lot of our favorite artists have unfortunately been put in positions to where they haven't made the money that we think they have made, or they've ended up being broke and destitute after having just the most glamorous and amazing career.
Yes. Sex with Sank family. We'll be right back. Sex with Sank family, we are back. We're chopping it up with Absoloot.
Yes.
Absoloot. I love the cards that you have. There's something tangible. But in my head, I was saying, how does that compare against, technology? Every time I turn around, I see a student on a device or, they have a gadget in their hand. So how does it compare? But you've informed me otherwise, right?
Yeah, so the trading card market is booming right now. That's not why we're doing it, though, right? The reason we're doing it is because we get to touch a lot of these kids through other nonprofits that we've been working with. A lot of the youth that we were working with in the school system, we were actually giving them these cards in their hands so they can get these cards autographed by some people like Kelvin Watson. You have Pastor Davidson. You have Barbara Sharif. You have some amazing people in the community, and we just wanted our youth to be educated on who these people are, be able to read about them on the trading card, and then feel like, yeah, I've met a celebrity.
Nice. And then so with this boom, we're gonna keep the party popping then with these cards.
Course,
yes. Because I had no idea. I'm thinking, Pokemon. I don't want to age myself too much, but I remember we had the Trapper Keeper. We had the
you were definitely aging. You're aging both of us right now.
Yeah, but
because I know what you're talking about, right?
And you had the little slots that you slide the card in, flip the pages, and we did that with CDs too.
Yep. Let's not talk about that though, right? So what we're doing now with these trading cards is we actually had Dr. Benjamin Chavis on one of our trading cards, and we were able to get the card signed by him when they unveiled a mural of him down here. So he was Martin Luther King's assistant, amazing civil rights activist throughout history. And so we got a piece of history by him signing that trading card, right? And so it's about capturing our history and holding that history for ourselves as well. Can you imagine if you had a Dr. Martin Luther King signed trading card, right?
Right.
And so that's how we think about it. I'm not doing it for the masses, I'm doing it for our youth.
Love it.
Right? And so we're not charging our youth for that. This is something that we want to give them. We want them to keep. But it's been received so well, we've had a hard time even keeping them in stock. And so we sold out of the trading cards about 15 times since we released our first set. And so keeping the cards is the hard part because the community wants it. They want to say, you know what, this is our history. Let us hold on to that. And so it's amazing what's happened since we first came out with these cards.
Nice. So how are you able to generate the income for the cards since you're not receiving anything from it?
So it goes to the nonprofit. So we've been receiving donations. We've had the book sales. We've had the trading cards. But it's the community saying we want this, right? And so the community is keeping it all alive. And I mean, it started with the music. We're thankful we've been able to hit maybe 100 million streams online, right? And so that's generated a good amount of income for us. But also through the books and the schools, the community just embracing and supporting what we've been doing has been amazing. And so that's created the income that we've needed to keep going and keep this positive push.
Love it. So you have someone who's entering the industry and they really don't know which side of the coin to be on. They don't know if they should, have that shock factor, or they don't know if they should, stick to authenticity and, go that route. What would you tell them?
I would say stay authentic, right? So one of the things that I talk to a lot of youth about, because one of the things we do with our nonprofit is publish. So we publish music, we publish books, and we work with our youth, and we do that out of our own pocket, right? Nice. So we're not charging our youth, because that's one of the problems they have when they sign to a major label, is that now they're in this label's pocket, and so they kind of have to do what the label tells them. Right, basically. We wanted to eliminate that, and we wanted to be able to help these artists without saying, okay, you owe anyone. You keep the money. We'll raise the funds for you to be able to put out these projects.
That's awesome.
Right? But the project has to benefit the community in some way. If it's not going to benefit us financially, at least we should be able to benefit from your lyrics, right? That influence we should be able to benefit from. And so that's what our nonprofit is doing. But I would tell somebody to be authentic. I talk to a lot of kids. Some of them are cursing. Some of them don't. My thing is tell your story, right? Let it be true to you. Don't do it because you hear it on the radio. Don't do it because you see it on TV. Let it be true to you. If we sense that and we see you doing your thing that way, we're there to support it.
We always there to support authenticity. We'll be back. Thanks for saying.
Bigging up Sing So Sing.
This is the hottest show in the world right now.
Même les où on tort, c'est moi-même qui demande pardon.
Bye bye, au revoir. Va, va, va.
Elephant Man represent
5 sur 5 TV.
They gave me nothing.
Okay, so, itching already. One of the signs.
I'm telling you, I was amazed when some of the things you were saying.
I'm a shorty that's deep in love. Makes me believe. Woo, child, we talking about 2001, 2002.
I'ma show them otherwise. Man, I do me.
Has anyone seen that booty?
I'm pleasing him in music.
I'm happy to be here. I know you are.
Together we rule the world.
When I make music, I don't make it for me.
I always sing 1 or 2 songs as a drummer.
Thanks to Sync family. We are back. I'm your host, B. We're here with Absoloot.
Yes, and I'm grateful to be here. Thank you so much. You're amazing at what you do. I'm just taking notes over here.
Thank you. Thank you. Come back anytime. Listen, they gave you the green light.
Yeah, okay.
It's official.
Awesome.
All right, so as far as your cards are concerned, is there anyone that you would like to collaborate with and, showcase or highlight them on any of the cards?
Yeah, there's many people. So we did Barbara Sharif actually for
She's
community.
amazing.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman. So we highlight her as a community hero, but it's Women's History Month.
Yes.
And so we've been looking at, we have Marcia Pender at Dillard, who is one of the winningest high school coaches in American history.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and so it's like.
She's a football coach?
No, she's basketball, girls basketball, right?
Okay.
But she's got all these awards from Gatorade and everybody else, but it's like the community.
She's not celebrated.
Right.
Yeah.
So how is she not celebrated?
Yeah. It's weird. It's like almost like at home, like your father, your mother, like they're dope in the community. And then when you're home, you're like, oh, that's just mom. Right. Oh, that's just dad.
But we can't do that.
Right.
We cannot do that because our youth watches that. And so they look at some of these people like, oh, that's just so-and-so because they know them. And it's like, no, this person has changed the course of history. Right. And so I think.
That's amazing. Basketball coach.
Yeah, and she's one of the winningest coaches in American history.
Wow.
Not Florida, not South Florida.
Yeah, that's big.
American history.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
She's got, just awards. She's been in Sun Sentinel. She's been, just some of the most amazing things you've ever seen. And so we covered her as our initial person last year, but the pandemic really just slowed things down for us. But this year, we really want to do something special for her.
And then Esther Rolle.
Oh, my gosh. Esther Rolle, right?
Amazing. Yeah.
And how many people has Esther Rolle influenced?
Right. So many people.
And that,
she's like the matriarch. Like,
yeah.
you know that it was a fictional character that she played, but I don't know, it's like so many people can just relate to her.
Right.
Just a strong, classy, like her presence is so, like, I don't know, I can't even begin to speak on her. Like, she still left a pivotal impact on me.
Right.
She's amazing.
I mean, she was with the show. She educated people.
She did.
Right? And she took that time to educate us, and so many people got into acting because of her. And she seems so authentic on the screen, right?
Yes.
Whether or not you met her, you felt who she is, right?
Yeah.
And so if you think about these people and the fact that these people have passed through our community, right? And we've been able to touch them, whether or not we did, that's on us, right? We've had the opportunity to touch these people, be influenced by these people, and they set this like blueprint for us too. That's another thing that I realized is like, you know, success kind of creates a blueprint for those that are coming behind you, right? And so I'm like, well, how do we show this blueprint to the youth, right? How do we get them into acting? How do we get them into reading, right? And so these are just some of the people that have created amazing impacts throughout the world that we want to show our youth come from our community.
And I love how you get different people from different walks of life. It's not just college educated or, you know, someone who's an athlete or an entertainer. It's various walks of life, because that's another thing too. That I think is amazing with bridging that gap, because we don't just stick to that. I mean, Caribbean people, we know it was only 3 careers that you can choose from. Those were the 3 careers, and that was it: engineer, lawyer, and doctor. If you didn't fit those realms, then that was it. So a lot of people, there was a disconnect in growing up, because you know, subconsciously you're like, okay, I'm not there. I'm not where my parents or my community want me to be. But now that we have this, you know, ability to see that, no, we need lawyers, we need doctors, yes, but we also need entertainers, both in front and behind the camera. We need people who are going to write the curriculum, because that's another thing. We're so concerned with, well, I can't relate to this. This story doesn't make any sense. Why do I have to take a test like this? But we're not writing the curriculum. We're not the one creating the curriculum. So how do you expect to relate to the curriculum? You have to get whatever it is that they are providing for us.
No, that's so true. So I actually had the opportunity to teach a reading class with Community Education Alliance at Dillard High, right? And through working with the youth, I wrote a story that we could use for ourselves, right? I didn't want to read anything that they wrote for us, because it's all about telling the story from your narrative, right? So I wanted us to give our point of view of the community, but also history, and teaching them about the Civil War, right? And so it's just so important, like you said, to write our own story, right? We can't complain if we're not doing it, right? And so that's something that I've really taken to heart, and so that's what the trading cards, the comic books, the music, all of that is about.
Thanks to Sank family. We're writing our own story. We'll be right back. Thanks to Sank family. We reached the final segment of our show here with Absoloot.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen, Absoloot, it's been a pleasure what can we look forward to having from you?
Of course, you get more music.
A lot.
Yeah. We're always working. Yeah. So there's more music coming. We're recording some more tracks. Not sure if we're gonna do a full album or just some more singles. But we have some awesome trading cards. We're doing women's history trading cards this month, so we're working really hard to get those finished by the end of the month. And then we got some more books that we're going to be putting out. We just finished Madam C.J. Walker.
Wow.
So we got that coming out, and then we got a few more that we're really going to surprise the community with.
Oh, my God. Have you watched the movie with Billie Holiday yet? Have you seen it?
I have not. Oh, my gosh. I have not.
Oh, my gosh. Amazing.
I will watch it. Yeah,
you have to see it, you guys. I'm not gonna spoil it.
Please, no.
You have to watch it. It's amazing. Since we are on Women's Month, there's a lot of people too in the Caribbean who I'll specifically speak on Haiti, who did not or do not know the impact of a lot of women in the military.
Yes.
And early on, and their impact on Haiti's history as well. So that's something that I feel like we ourselves, I need to brush up on a lot of history too,
right.
Because when you mentioned, you were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King's right-hand man, I was like, wait, who? I was like, wait, I didn't catch his name. Right. And I'm like, wow, okay, yeah, so I need to, go back and do my due diligence. And that's something that we should do.
Yeah,
I feel like we should be able to, have accountability and say, okay, I can't blame everything on everyone else. What am I doing to further us as a people?
Right.
And you're doing an amazing job.
Well, I'm trying. A lot of this actually started with the Haitian Revolution, learning about it, right? Mm-hmm. I'm working up in Palm Beach, and I work with an amazing nonprofit AVDA, which is Aid to Victims of Domestic Abuse.
Oh, wow.
And so they started teaching me a lot of things about domestic violence and oppression, and how racism kind of plays a role in that. And I never thought about that before.
Wow.
And then a lot of the youth that I'm working with in Palm Beach, they're of Haitian descent, right? And so I just see, they don't have that same excitement about being Haitian, right? Yeah. And so in talking to some of them, I realized they don't even realize what they did, right? They don't realize that their people changed the world, right? They don't realize that their people were freeing other countries, right? And so in not realizing that, we created The Adventures of Junior and Rubble, which is the first comic book with a Haitian superhero, right? And so we did an audio book on that. And so it's been the first of many with that comic book. But I wore the shirt one day to one of the high schools. So I put the comic book on a shirt, and the Haitian kids were pulling me aside.
Who's that?
Who is this? Because it has the Haitian flag in the back, right? And it's something that they didn't see, so it was hard to have pride in it because they don't know, right? And so you can watch their pride, right? When it turns on, right? It's like it clicks, and it's like, wow, we did this, and it's not like, well, we came to this country and we're doing this, and it's like, no, the rest of the world was watching you because you began changing the world. And the history of Haiti is a culture of freedom, right? Just a beautiful culture, the vibrant people. We went to Haiti after we created the book. Amazing Professor Guerra Nicholas invited us to Haiti, and it was the most amazing time. And it's something we thought we would never do. It was just like, we created this comic book and we want to work with these kids, but then we got to actually go show the comic book in Haiti, perform for 20,000 people, and it was just like the most amazing trip ever, and it literally changed my life.
Yeah. It's just so sad, the conditions that Haiti is in right now, but it all makes sense. If you look at the grand scheme of things, you'll really understand why it is in the position that it is right now. If you really understand the history behind it and how there's a disconnect with so many people, from politicians to the citizens themselves, you kind of get the story, and you kind of can understand and empathize with Haiti and what's going on right now. But l'union fait la force, right? Without, yeah. So where can we contact you for more information?
So you can hit me up on Instagram. It is Team Absoloot. Absoloot is spelled ABSOLOOT. On Twitter, it's just Absoloot, and on Facebook, it's Absolute Music. Once again, Absoloot is ABSOLOOT.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Whenever you're ready, come on back.
Don't say that. I might be back next week now.
Okay, Ed. That's our director, Ed.
Right.
Director, creator, owner of the show. Thanks to Sank family. It's been a pleasure with having you guys here. We are here in Express Hookah Lounge. I have to give them a shout out. They are located in Hollywood, Florida. Also, my face is courtesy of Avled Artistry. You guys make sure to check out Terry at Avled Artistry. At Ave-led artistry. All right, be sure to check her out, you guys. If you want more information about the show, log on to www.sync2sync.tv.com. Our Instagram and Twitter handles are at Sync2Sync TV. Again, I'm your host, B. On Instagram, I am B Longchamp. Till next time.